So today I want to talk to you guys about one of the rarest items in the Elder Scrolls Online, and it's worth around 3 million gold right now. So the item I'm talking about is the Aetheric Cipher, and this is a very rare drop that has a very low drop rate, but it's actually really easy to actually farm for, and literally anyone at any stage in the game could potentially have this item drop for them. So there is no official drop rate for this item, although I would love them to release official drop rates for everything in the game, but it is speculated to be around a 1 in 1 million drop. So people have played this game for 10 years and have never seen one of these dropped, and some people have played the game for 10 minutes and have been so lucky as to get one. So what I'm going to show you guys is how to farm this, what I would personally do if I was able to obtain it, and also at the end of the video I'm going to give you a really cool way to actually manipulate this particular item to make you potentially over 1 million coins in like 2 minutes. So what I'm going to do then is show you guys how to farm this, what I would personally do if I had obtained the item myself. I'm going to let you know if it's actually feasible to farm, and there's also like a really cool bit of detail near the end of the video just to show you guys how you could potentially make over 1 million coins in like 2 minutes. So make sure you stay to the end just to see that bit. So there's no real setup for this, which makes a change from most of my videos. I'm sure you guys are all glad I'm not going to be talking your ear off for 5 minutes with what CP to use, things like that. But yeah, essentially the Aetheric Cipher can be found by killing any monster in the base game locations of the Elder Scrolls Online. So essentially any non-DLC areas, so you're talking like the Shan, Ratwood, Stormhaven, anything like that. Even if you just kill one mud crab, you have a chance to get the Aetheric Cipher drop. And again, this drop is worth 3 million gold. Now here's the bit that might annoy some of you watching this video, is that obviously if you don't loot everything as you go along and you've maybe been playing this game for 5 years, there's probably a pretty high chance that something you've killed has dropped in Aetheric Cipher, you just didn't loot it. So what I recommend actually going forward is just to put on consolidate area loot and to put on auto loot, so that way whenever you're running past killing stuff you can just spam A and maybe you'll get an Aetheric Cipher pop up in your inventory. I know that for a very long time playing this game, probably the first 6 years, I did not do this, and I can only think if maybe I missed out on one of the ciphers already. So this can drop from any non-DLC based zone in the Elder Scrolls Online, and this also includes dungeons, okay? So there have been many reports of people getting this drop inside of dungeons in the base game, so things like Darkshear Caverns or Fungal Grotto, anything like this in the base locations. So if you're doing your daily dungeon, for example, or you're just farming for a piece of equipment, just remember to just loot stuff just on the off chance that you happen to get this item. And I think it's better to think of this as something that's a little more passive than something you're actively farming. So I would love to see you guys just going into dungeons and looting a little bit more. Just if you're over in the overland, say you're like killing zombies or whatever, you're just trying to loot those guys just so you can also maybe get some money while you're gaining XP. I think that's the best way to look at this item and the best way to potentially make some passive money while you're just doing other stuff. So there's been a report of a third way of this dropping, okay, which is from the Jubilee event. So if you guys don't know about the Jubilee event, just very briefly, once a year ESO, to celebrate the game's birthday, just bring out a little event called the Jubilee event, where basically when you do your daily crafting rates you get an additional reward box. Like this will have some motifs, it can be any motif. You'll have recipes, and allegedly it can be any recipe including the Aetheric Cipher. Now I haven't verified that, but if any of you guys have had that drop from a Jubilee box, or if you know someone who's had that drop from a Jubilee box, if you could just comment below to confirm it, that'd be great. Like 90% sure this is true, but I haven't seen it to verify, okay? So we've learned about the price of the item, we've learned about how rare it is, you know, being like a 1 in a million drop and very little people actually get it. But what I want to go over here is talk about what it actually does and how you can potentially use the recipe moving forward to make more money. So the first and most obvious way to make long-term gold from this is just not take the initial profit by selling the item, and to actually learn the 150% experience potion recipe and start selling these potions slowly over time for a profit. Basically meaning over time you're going to recoup your initial investment, and then every potion you sell after that is going to be pretty much profit. Now what I would say is that this is kind of slow, and ethereal dust isn't the most common of materials to find, so you can't just do this on a really large scale. And even if you try to do it on a large scale, you're going to push the prices down. And then talking about prices going down, there's many people actually already kind of doing this in the market who are also looking out for the ethereal dust and are also trying to price their potions the lowest. So I don't think maybe it's going to be worth your time doing this particular method. Now it's completely up to you guys, but I think it's going to take you guys many months to bring your 3 million gold back, and then the profit after that would be nice, sure, but it's like a really long-term investment. So with that in mind, and how long it's going to take for you to recoup your profit and all the effort you're going to put in and keep monitoring for ethereal dust and monitoring your traders for whenever potions need relisted, you're probably thinking you're just going to sell it if you get it, and that's what most players actually do. So this is the part where I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information that I don't think a lot of people know about, and not a lot of people are using if they do know about it, okay? So just before this, I want to just mention this is my first members only early access video that I've done on this channel. So if you guys want to see more videos, a little bit early access, so you can get this information a little bit quicker, feel free to drop a membership. I'd really appreciate that. So for this bit of information, what we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of a closer look at the description of the Aetheric Cipher, okay? So what this does is when you have a Sigil Ambrosia recipe scroll in your inventory, use this Aetheric Cipher to transform that recipe into a mythic Aetheric Ambrosia recipe scroll. Now, the thing I thought was interesting is that that mythic Aetheric Ambrosia recipe scroll is tradable. And whenever I was doing the research for this video, I found it really interesting in the price difference between the Aetheric Cipher and the mythic Aetheric Ambrosia recipe. So I'm gonna let you guys draw your own conclusions here, but I've attached some screenshots to back up what I'm saying, okay? So the cheapest mythic Aetheric Ambrosia recipe on the market right now is 3.5 million gold, and you can see the screenshot here. And if we look at the cheapest Aetheric Cipher recipe, it is only 3 million gold, okay? Right, if we look at the price of a basic Sigil Ambrosia recipe, it's 1,000 gold, okay? So this is where you're going to start to see a gap in the market and something so niche and so seemingly stupid that no one is actually thinking of doing it, okay? The thought process here is that people are just going to make this recipe themselves from the cipher, right? So no one's going to pay this extra 500,000 gold to not click one button and to not spend 1,000 gold. But just a little secret, guys, there's some rich players in this game who are both lazy and very silly, and they won't do the research, they won't price check the other thing, and they simply will just pay for the mythic Aetheric Ambrosia recipe because that's the thing they want, and they've googled how do I make this potion and they found the answer. Now at this stage you might be thinking what I said isn't true, or it's really far-fetched, or something you probably can't actually do, but what I would say is it's going to show the sales history for the mythic Aetheric Ambrosia. Now you can see that about a week ago on the 24th of December, this recipe actually sold, and it is a confirmed sale for 3.7 million gold, right? Now there are many sales either side of this, okay, including all the way up till today for similar pricing, right? Now just for some extra flavor, what I did is I looked at these sales data for the Aetheric Cipher, and on the exact same day, the Aetheric Cipher sold for 2.5 million, meaning that if you had have just bought that Aetheric Cipher for 2.5 million, spent 1,000 gold and turned it into the mythical Aetheric Ambrosia recipe, you'd have made a 1.2 million profit from clicking one extra button and spending 1,000 gold. Now 1.2 million in like 1 minute is really like an unheard of amount of profit, okay? There's no gold method is that good. You can drop some of the rarest items and it's still sometimes not close to this much money. Like if you get a soul stripping skin, you know, you're kind of making less than this. You know, you spend like 10 hours farming for raw materials, you're making less than just if you've done this one little conversion. So yeah, hopefully this bit of information has earned a subscription from you guys, and if you guys want to get some early access to this kind of information going forward, a little membership would mean a lot to me, okay? So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.